Hello 7th graders, and welcome to this flipped preview video for English 7A 5.11 through 5.12. In this video, we are comparing and citing informational texts. So we're comparing arguments and pros and cons for arguments, and we're also evaluating claims in informational texts that presents two sides of an argument. It's really important to understand these vocabulary terms. A claim is an opinion-based stance that takes on a subject. So if you make a claim, you're saying the sunshine is healthy. That's a claim. Evidence is a specific detail or details, such as a fact or expert opinion, that supports a reason. So whenever we're making a claim, as you've done in English 7A, we've written argument essays, research reports. We are making a claim by providing evidence to support that claim. And an argument is a set of statements called premises that are used to reach a conclusion. Some other key vocabulary terms for 5.11 and 5.12 are central idea, which is the main idea or message in a text. Explicit, which means information that is stated clearly and in detail. It's explicitly there. And evidence is textual details that can support an interpretation. The other thing to consider as we are analyzing texts is inferential versus explicit evidence. An inferential evidence is information that is concluded by the reader based on what is suggested in the text, but it might not be clearly stated. So think about when you make an inference, you're making an educated guess, you're inferring. It's not explicitly there, but you're making your best educated statement or guess based off of evidence. Explicit evidence is information that is stated clearly and in detail in a text, leaving no doubt about the meaning. The first article you will read is, "Can eating less meat cool the environment?" There are two stances that the authors take in this article. Be sure to understand, does an increase in meat consumption equal global warming? Well, there's some explicit evidence stated in this article, and I also grabbed this wonderful graph from MIT from 2021 showing the increase in meat consumption since 1990 to 2025. You won't find this in your Newsela article, but feel free to look up more about this to decide what part of the argument you are on, for or against. So there are two sides in the argument. One is that eating more meat can lead to increased greenhouse emissions, which ultimately leads to global warming. But there's another side of the argument, which is reducing meat consumption won't actually help the environment. And there are many pieces of evidence from this Newsela article to support that eating less meat won't solve our problem of global warming. So be sure to pay attention to that as you're reading. All right, then in lesson 5.12, you will read another Newsela article, and you'll continue honing in on these skills of analyzing an argument and evaluating two different sides. So you will look at an article that shows the pros and cons of the Electoral College. Now, what is the Electoral College? Well, we first should understand, as we are reading, should decide if we ourselves are for or against the Electoral College. Consider, how should the people's votes in the United States be counted? Now, if you need a refresher on what the Electoral College is, let's watch this video.
Most people have heard of the Electoral College during presidential election years. But what exactly is the Electoral College? Simply said, it is a group of people appointed by each state who formally elect the President and Vice President of the United States. To understand how this process began and how it continues today, we can look at the Constitution of the United States. Article 2, Section 1.
I will provide a link to the YouTube video that explains what the Electoral College is, along with this flipped preview video. If you want to learn more, go ahead and check out that video. As you are going through lesson 5.11 and 5.12, I really want to stress the importance of going through the learn sections. These sections really help aid you in evaluating and understanding the main objectives from the course lessons. So as you go through, this is from lesson 5.12, you'll look at a closer look of two arguments. You'll talk about how to find evidence to support those claims. All right, well, in this floats preview video and in lessons 5.11 and 5.12, you will have used reading strategies to help you understand informational texts. You will have evaluated claims in this informational text. You will have described arguments presented in two different News ELA articles, and you will have analyzed how different authors emphasized different evidence and interpreted facts differently. Pay attention to that. Don't forget, at the end of lesson 5.12, there is a lesson quiz. Remember, these quizzes are 5 questions long, and you have 3 attempts on every quiz. If you don't do well the first time, make sure you go back through the lessons, reach out for extra teacher support, or attend a live session to get extra help before attempting it a second or third time. Your highest score is recorded in the gradebook, and remember that each time you take the quiz, you will see different questions. So be sure that you review the first attempt and review your lessons before taking the quiz again if you want to. All right, and in these 2 lessons we read, Can Eating Less Meat Cool the Environment? A News ELA article, and Should We Abolish the Electoral College? A News ELA article. If these articles interest you, at the bottom of the articles, you might find some other articles that you could read on further about. I encourage you to check out those things. All right, well, I hope that you'll join us in our live class to follow up this content and these skills. I look forward to seeing you in our live flipped follow-up class. This is Mrs. Alexander, and I will catch you on the flip side.